on startup and blocked my screen.
Dark Souls crash. Okay.
I'm really excited for the speed run.
You looked like you were doing all right last night, like the bits and pieces I was catching.
Oh, I was doing awful. Don't get me wrong. But I did get a decent amount, far enough for a short enough time. So
Good.
I got 3 hours, 15 minutes, and I got to see the scale list, which is a decent speed. That's a decent rate.
I have no idea what I'm doing for my 8 hours. I may just stare at the screen and eat Pringles.
Weren't we doing 24 each?
No, we're doing 8 hours each.
Oh, okay. So I'm doing a totally separate thing because I was prepping for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, we're doing 8 hours each because then that way we hit 24 as a group, but it also allows us to still have a normal life and like get sleep.
I'm gonna start mine with a full 24 hour.
Sure, you can get. I think you're leading it off anyways.
If you want to die, go ahead.
I mean, if you want to do 24 hours, I ain't gonna stop you. I'm just saying that I'm doing 8.
I'm doing 8 as well this time.
I literally cannot beat Dark Souls 2 in 8 hours. I can't do it. I know I can't.
There you go. It's in the general win Discord.
World record is 25 minutes.
World record is 25 minutes. I am not good.
I'm pretty sure like they glitched through like half of it too, and that's not all bosses. That's any percent. That's just beating the game.
I'm doing any percents. It's just that I'm bad. So.
Ask Jesus his toast about it. You know, he'll show you how to do it quickly. But yeah, so before we return to part 2
I guess I have
of
to do
our
this, huh?
E3 breakdown, so here we go. Here comes
Oh boy.
unboxing.
I'm just gonna.
Look at this. It comes with a nice, Amazon finish to the envelope, including the address, that logo, which you don't see because, I don't want anybody nicking it. So what we're going to do is
Curse it.
Listen to that opening.
You've got it upside down. The Amazon thing looks sad.
Well, it is good. It is because and what we have in the package is this lovely finish here to a business card wallet holder for all your business cards there. And as we open the cellophane, you can see the quality. Look at that. To hold all your business cards in it. This is just a holder of it. This isn't the main thing.
How
It's in
fancy.
its own box. I know and we open it up.
If you go down the business card route, is this going to get American Psycho on it?
Depends.
Oh my god.
We are
gold
in
edged.
suits.
So look, there you go. That's right. So all your business cards.
Didn't we talk chainsaws earlier as well?
Hey, look,
Okay.
Quick Champions is 34% off. That's
Okay,
not
that's-
accurate at all because it's free right now.
Look at the stitching. There you go. There's the stitching. So that's that's our unboxing live for the first time ever.
No, we've had another unboxing before.
Oh yeah, you did one, didn't
I
you?
did the loot crate.
Hey, it's the end of the season. It's
Lard's first time ever unboxing.
Large first time ever unboxing. We will do that for sure. All right. So
I'll let you guys know when I'm doing mine. I'll have to do it in ASMR format.
So
Everyone looks at Will's package.
let's get ourselves back on track here. Devolver Digital.
Yes.
3 games.
Yes.
2 of
One
which
was-
look interesting.
Yeah, the Pedro, isn't it? Let's have a look.
My friend
My
Pedro.
friend Pedro.
Yeah. That looks really fun.
I instantly added it to my wish list on Steam. I was like, I need this.
And Metal Wolf looks. I mean, obviously, Metal Wolf is, the president and vice president fighting each other in mech suits from 2004.
Wow, it does look badass. It really does.
It does. And Scum.
My favorite thing is it's made by FromSoft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was hilarious. I'm pretty sure they just used old what's it called? Shit, my memory's bad. It's the mech game they made.
Front Mission?
No. It was
Demon Souls.
no, that's not a mech game.
It is modded on PC.
BattleTech.
No, they didn't do BattleTech. It was the fast one. Christ. What is it?
You'll
I
remember
don't
it.
know. They made a mech game. I'll remember it in like 10 minutes and then I'll yell it.
Zone of the
in
Enders?
chat.
No, that was Konami.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Gavin with Tourette's.
We'd be like in the middle of Nintendo, and he'd be like, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, oh. What? That's not Nintendo. All right, so Devolver Digital.
Time to
Obviously,
try and get them to go.
I almost did. You almost got me.
also, Devolver Digital building a narrative, and BitDoge Lootbox coin. As for somebody in my profession, I died laughing. Where most people probably thought it was just like, heh, as somebody in my line of work, if I had data on my phone, I would have showed it to everybody in the office.
At 4:00 in the morning, it was one of the funniest things I've seen.
Okay, Square Enix time.
Mhm.
I didn't watch this conference, but I know a decent amount about most of the games because they were in every other conference. Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Looking good.
It was the first time they showed actual proper
Hair.
gameplay in one section.
Why? How did they mess up the hair?
Maybe it's
How
her,
did
maybe it's
actual
Maybelline.
I mean, obviously it's not her.
Dude, Hairspray's making a comeback.
Obviously not in that game.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Thanks, Scott, for the
It's
follow.
fucking 2004 hair graphics. Like, what the shit?
I wouldn't worry about it. As soon as speedrunners get hold of it, she won't have any hair anyway because part of the skips like ruin her hair and remove it. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's... she's basically just going to be a floating head with some arms,
yep.
but no hair. That's basically what it's going to be.
Or, she'd become a member of Primus, or the way the hair was, the plastic bit.
Who knows? But I mean, it's another lark. They've been good, so if it's more of the same, that's fine. Advance that story. Let's hope the movie's adequate. That's coming out. There's a Tomb Raider movie coming out. For
I
those of
thought
you
it
who
was
didn't know.
already.
Yeah,
I thought it was
I think
already
it's
out.
already been and gone.
Yeah, it's come and gone.
Yeah.
So that shows you how well that did in theaters. That was a thing.
It did okay.
It probably did better than Solo.
Wouldn't be hard.
No. So, Final Fantasy Stormblood. The expansion to another. Is it?
So Stormblood already existed. What
Yep.
this is just an expansion to the expansion.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But
That's the new patch.
it's a patch, yeah. It's the new story patch, basically.
Literally, the
section.
only difference is that it's at E3 now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like this is what it's come to now with MMOs that we're talking about patches as like E3 relatable content. I'm fine with it. It's whatever.
I wouldn't mind, but like they have their own like thing that they do specifically for Final Fantasy 14. It's like you don't need to be here. That's how. Why are you in this?
Well,
Go
okay, so
away.
let me ask, because I didn't watch the Squeenix one. That was the one I didn't get to.
You are a very lucky person.
I didn't either. So
Was it the actual dev team for Final Fantasy 14 there?
No, it was literally just a like 1 to 2 minute trailer just showing you some cool footage.
Okay, so now the question is, which I don't think we have answers for, were they there, period, even though they're not displayed?
No, it was
Because
a
if they were there...
it was a pre-produced video that they put online like Nintendo Directs tend to be.
Okay, because
So they
the
didn't
question
have
was...
any front-facing stuff.
Well, no, I mean, like, if the devs were at E3, not necessarily in the presentation, and not even necessarily in that crowd, if they were at E3, if Squeenix shipped the dev team out there for that weekend,
I
I would've been-
highly
I'm okay.
doubt that they would have been there.
right,
They-
so if... Because, I mean, they have a very, very, very small team compared to the rest of them.
yes.
It's a shame that Daniela has gone, because she could have probably told us about that. Because at one point she was PR for Square Enix.
Mm.
So I know that Obs, is it Amy? Was it Obs? It's Amy? No, I don't think so. There is someone I follow who is another PR for Square Enix. I know she was really happy with just the stuff that they showed, and was really happy with the devs. So I imagine they would have had some Square Enix people there, because I know Shadow of the Tomb Raider was being shown on the show floor. Because friend of Fem's and myself, Chris Slight, he was there and he had a bit on the show floor. So and he was showing Tomb Raider. So I imagine there was like behind closed doors meetings with them.
Yeah, there may have been some more quiet behind the scenes stuff. I'm not saying that not all, like some of the dev teams may have been out there, but I very much doubt it for Final Fantasy. So, mainly because they have their own thing that they do like every couple of months. There's always a fan fest to go to for Final Fantasy 14, like nearly every month in a completely different city or country. So I don't know why they would have wasted money doing an E3 thing just because it's so expensive to be there.
Right. Because that's ultimately like my one thing. Because if they were there, then I say it's worth it to show there. But if they weren't, then I mean, fuck it.
Yeah, it just felt like half hour.
So Monster Hunter.
Okay.
I think it's a good crossover, and it makes sense, especially with the Japanese audience that they would have had, and obviously with Monster Hunter World being the best-selling one in the West now, which wouldn't have been hard anyway. But it makes absolute sense. That game is literally about hunting down massive, giant, horrible beasts that can decimate an entire country, so it makes sense to have something like just dragons. One of the major patches was dragons.
Yep.
So it makes sense for them to do this kind of crossover, and I think it's cool.
The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Did we already talk about that one? I think we already talked about that one.
We didn't talk about it. We sort of glossed over it.
Yeah.
It's Summer 3 that's coming out on June 26th. I believe it's definitely on Xbox One. I imagine it will be on PSN as well, because it's a prelude to Life is Strange 2.
It's in the same universe.
Why do I have a feeling there's going to be something with a child, like he has cancer or something?
They've shown enough to suggest that the dad has a drinking problem in it, so there's possibly something going on to do with that, about having to deal with difficult childhoods more than anything. But he could be sick, especially if they're going to be putting in like the idea that he's got these abilities and something. They could link it to that in some kind of way.
Yeah, because to me it had that feel of like that dragon cancer.
Yeah, and man, that's a feels game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play it for a reason.
It's not something I promote from my channel. I played it once. I streamed it for a Sunday, and yeah, it kicks you right in the feels. That does.
Yeah, I can imagine.
With some people more than others. I mean, there is a moment in there where it's like a Mario Kart level game there, and at the end of it, it shows all the medicine that the child was on. And when you see one that you've been on yourself, it kind of kicks you right in the gutters.
Like, Christ, I've had to take that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the medication itself is a thing called methotrexate.
Oh God.
Which is like these little pills.
Yeah.
And my body just didn't like it. Really did not take to this. And it's like a really, really harsh version of pills for it. It's like, because all the stuff that people with Crohn's and that can take, it depends how bad theirs is. It's in the chemo family, and methotrexate is because they used to treat cancer patients with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
God.
So is it something on the light and pretty Dragon Quest?
Like
I think it looks really good. I'm happy for Dragon Quest fans that it's finally starting to take hold in the West. It means they're going to be they're getting more and more of them, and they're getting localized a lot faster as well, which is a nice touch.
The one for the PlayStation that then came out for the DS, I thought that one was really solid.
Number 8?
Yeah, it was 8 or 7.
It was a PS2 game, and they did a 3DS remake.
I'm excited for
that's one of the best ones, apparently. So,
yeah, so excited for that. Babylon's Fall. I know nothing about this.
That's
We've seen
because
more.
nobody does.
we've
What you
seen
know
more of
is
this.
what everyone knows.
So good. So Nier Automata is coming to Xbox. It's Nier
I think that's
Automata.
great.
Great.
Yep.
Yep.
Octopath Traveler, their new
So-
JRPG job system game for the Switch.
I've had that pre-ordered since last year. I updated my pre-order this year because they brought out a collector's edition that has like a pop-up book and shit in it, and I'm like, yeah, that's mine. I think this it was great being told that there's a new demo, but it's the first 3 hours of the game, and you can play from any which point that you want, and then you get to carry your save over. But I'm like, why is this at this conference though? It's like, it's such a niche, tiny title that like everyone knows it's coming, and it's out next month. In fact, it's out. Yeah, it's when is it out? It's like next month, almost entirely a month, and I just
Bye, Michael.
I love it, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure there are other people that are as well. It just felt really sort of thrown in, like shit. We need to fill a half hour, and then they just did that.
Yeah, it did feel sort of cobbled together, like they just went, what games do we have that are near completion or quite far away that we can actually show some stuff? And let's just chuck it out of war and see what sticks.
So
Yeah,
that explains Just Cause and Kingdom Hearts 3 as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about Kingdom Hearts 3 on there. Why was their demo the smallest out of all three that was it appeared on?
It was the shortest showing, but at least it was. No, wait, no, it wasn't that one that was the new footage, was it? No, they had
No.
the footage that was exactly from the Xbox one.
The Sony
Yeah.
one was the Elsa one.
The Sony was the different one that we hadn't seen before. It was like, what the fuck is going on there? When you're like, we've got a conference, we're definitely going to bring it big at E3 this year, and then we're like, we've already seen your shit at like 5 different shows, and you're the fifth. So,
my prediction for Kingdom Hearts 3 is that it's actually just going to be a shit show, and it's not going to control well, and it's just people are going to get it. It's not going to feel good to play. It's going to have as many references as possible, and it's just going to be a big ass Disney show.
I
if
saw
it doesn't finish the story, I'm going to be so mad.
yeah,
It won't. I guarantee you, it won't.
I
Might it have another control method as well?
I will pay $5 if
Probably.
if it does finish the story. If it finishes the story, I will send you $5.
Cool.
I just I've
That's pretty
played
much all
them.
I'll be able to afford after.
I've played them.
It's
I've
just-
watched the other stuff through. I still don't understand the story.
You're not meant to.
Good.
I kind of see what it is about, you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like when you're 7 games into a series and you're like, I kind of see what the story about. You should not be at that level.
Should be fully sort of,
This isn't fucking Game of
get-
Thrones where you're like
It's
8
when-
seasons in and you're like, oh, that guy is that guy and he's fucking
Game of
that
Thrones.
girl.
It's why I moved away from the series. I used to be a really big Kingdom Hearts fan, and I got to Birth by Sleep, and I'm like, I'm done, mate. I'm done. Because it got into the point where I don't know any other series where you need to play the spin-offs to understand the main things, and then there'd only been 2 main things. That it's like the main story has the least information in it. And you have to play all the little tiny small games that they made for all the other consoles, all the other systems. So that's the other thing, is you had to buy every system to be able to even get that as well. It just so it makes me so mad. So it's been nice that Lard's been playing it every Sunday, because it means I can catch up without having to bother with any of it. So
I don't know what Sony talked about it earlier.
What's even worse though, is that you need to play the mobile game to get the most key information.
oh my god!
Not just the spin-offs. Like the DS games, I could see like having a lot of important info in the DS games. As I am dying. Nope, I'm dead. Okay. I can see that being
He's
okay.
playing Dark Souls in the background.
Yeah, I was
I'm
just
trying
like,
to
wait,
see-
you're dying? Oh.
I could see like again the handheld ones being fine,
They're great.
but
They are.
The fucking mobile game has the most important shit?
It does.
Really?
Yeah.
Squee, what the fuck you doing?
Squee.
Sweet. And also then they talked about, obviously, what's The Quiet Man?
So that's another of their new IPs, along with Babylon's Fall. It was a very awkward trailer because it started off live action. This sort of like grungy 90s emo boy just walked into the strangest back alley where some very racially stereotyped thugs were
Sounds like a
cussing
Final
and
Fantasy.
no, it's nothing to do with Final
But
Fantasy.
it sounds
because
very much like an opening of
So,
a Final Fantasy.
it does kind of sound like that, yeah. But he walks in and he just basically, without saying a word, because the concept is that he is deaf, he tells them to shush, and then the camera pans, so it's like behind him, kind of like Leon in Resident Evil. But then it's kind of like the bouncer, and you start actually fighting these guys. But it goes from the live action into the gameplay, and it's a real bad pan into it. You can tell the moment it glosses over into the actual game.
I have a question for you about the game. Do you hear the punches being impacted?
Yes.
Then it's wrong.
It's not deaf.
Because it's not deaf.
So
Like, I would applaud them if, like, they made the entire game just no sounds.
it wasn't like how you would normally hear it in any old other, like a proper fighting game. It was muted deliberately, you could tell, and it was meant to be more to do with the visual aspect. You could see how he was hitting them, but it was such a short show, and then changed back to live action after he was done. And it was like 20-30 seconds at best. And like it was badly acted, and it didn't look great. The
So
animation
Enix.
for the actual fighting didn't look great either. And I'm like,
By the way,
what is this? And then it just cut and went to the next thing. So we're like, what is this? You've given us a name and next to nothing else.
and a Michael Bay movie.
It would have been nice if it was a Michael Bay movie, because that would have been fun.
Yeah, we'll just see what the actual plot was about.
Can I also say thank you, Square Enix, for proving me right? No Final Fantasy VII news whatsoever.
I'm so butthurt about that.
I called it. I knew it was gonna happen.
True.
Oh, let's quickly
Yeah,
bid some chat up, which is
Pun-
about and said, Shadow
Oh.
really looking good.
Yeah, Punisher.
Robots.
This is when you
So-
got. This is when you have to podcast at noon, but need to murder bitches at 6.
Got a busy day ahead.
Got a busy day ahead.
Strangle them with your headset one.
And when you got a podcast to do, but strangle a dictator at 6 a.m. I'm back.
You club them with your microphone. You
I like that you have to go back in time. Person, though.
Or forward. I'm
No,
assuming.
no, you have to go back
Exactly. That's why my hair is back.
because you've got plenty of time to change. If you have to kill them at 6 a.m.
But maybe I already killed them at 6 a.m. and now I'm just podcasting.
So
I
then
decided not
you'd
to
be putting
change.
the sequence wrong. So you have to go back in time.
But
Because
wibbly
you
wobbly
said when you have to
timey
do a
wimey.
podcast, then kill a person.
True. But time is relative.
Relatively going backwards in this case.
Yes. Ubisoft. Ubisoft. Just Dance. Do we need to say anything about Just Dance?
Only if
Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
200 subscribers. I have to do it. If I get to 200 concurrent subscribers, I have to.
So can I ask a dumb question?
There are no dumb
Yes.
questions.
Okay, so you can't buy a Kinect for Xbox anymore.
No.
Yet someone's bringing out a major dance game that was traditionally linked with the Kinect. Is that right?
It was traditionally a Wii game
Right. Okay.
originally, and then it just got ported to everything that could support it. So
Right. So I don't need to go out and buy a Kinect then, so I can play Just Dance.
You don't. Microsoft doesn't want you to do that anyway. So
Yeah, they want you to get to use like a web camera.
Right.
Yeah.
One that actually works.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
That looks really good as far as the trailer goes.
As far as the
yeah,
trailer.
the trailer.
I loved the first one. I'm excited by that.
Can they just make it a movie?
I mean,
it looks like it is, isn't it?
they're already
Yeah,
tied
no,
in with
like-
Hit Record, so
Yeah,
See,
which is a
laziness.
movie-making company. So
yeah. And I mean, it is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I tend to like most things he does.
that was. Did you expect him to come on stage of all people?
no.
No, and I was
That
happy he
really
did.
surprising.
And I liked it because he has the charisma and like energy to like take over the stage.
Yeah.
It immediately made it better than the two awkward devs standing on the side. And like Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes out and like, just have him present it. Screw the devs, have Joseph Gordon-Levitt come out and talk. And people would have been like, yay, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, we're down.
Don't forget though. We nailed it. Nailed it.
We nailed it! Yeah, that was so cute. That was another one of the highlights of E3 this
That-
year. It was
that
just
was
so nice
really
to hear.
cute.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful mistake.
It was beautiful, yeah. There are no mistakes, just happy accidents.
That
Well,
is
here's,
exactly what
here's,
it
the
was.
thing, here's the thing I don't like about this. One of the laziest dev situations is where they come in straight out and going, "Oh yeah, if you use stuff, if you want to send your stuff in to help us finish the game." You're like, what?
Oh yeah, no. That was
It
the
is.
commentary. That's Valve.
Yeah, that's Valve.
No,
That's totally Valve.
That's not even a joke. That is legitimately their business model. Is
Yeah.
you guys make it, we're gonna put it into packages and we're gonna sell it, and you get a small cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least the thing is too is that I think they're drawing on the fact that it is a little bit lazy on their part, but they're not asking you to make like major parts of the game. They're not asking you to like do that.
Yeah,
They're asking you,
they're asking for small assets
for
or
street
music
art,
or
background
whatever.
music. They're asking you to like, so you're buying into this thing, and I think that they have such a strong want and community for the game that they can do that. They're not asking you to be like, hey, can you model the main character for us? No, it's like, can you provide the background music that you may hear in a shop as you drive by it on your Space Jam?
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I think it's strictly ingenious, the fact that like you help us build the game and then we're going to sell that back to you. But I think
You ain't getting discounts on it.
but that's the thing with Hit Record though. If you've ever watched them, if they do anything, whenever they do any of their specials or any of those things, anybody who's a part of the collaboration that gets their assets get used, they get a cut of the show.
They do get paid, yeah.
They do get paid. Like
Oh,
that is
some.
there is a major that is the staple of Hit Record, is that if your content is used, you get paid for that content. So
He had to clarify it on Twitter actually later on, because there was a lot of the script that he had that was cut for the show because they had to cut down on time, so he didn't get to explain it properly, and people were all like, "What? You're gonna take artist stuff and the classic for exposure, blah, blah, blah." And then he's like, "No, that's not what."
like
Did you even look at my website?
yeah, that's like I
Because it was shut down when people.
Yeah, we tested out all of the websites that everyone shouted out throughout the whole of E3, and every single one was broken.
Yep.
When we tried to do it, even if we were super fast, it's just they died instantly.
that's the thing. Like I knew what Hit Record was going into it, and so it was like when he came out, I'm like, oh okay, like I got it. But then again,
Yeah.
I had prior knowledge of what Hit Record is because I'm a big fan of anything Joseph Gordon-Levitt does. So I kind of like pay attention to when he does shit like that.
Yeah, I think for people like me, it would have been quite confusing because I know who that person is, but I didn't know he had that company. I didn't know what that did. I know about it now. I've read up on it. I think that's super cool. But it was very confusing. Like, oh my god, you're stealing people's work! Which is what it looks like and sounds like on that stage, on that presentation. But thankfully, they did clarify it, and it's not quite so sleazy. Of course, there are people that will make stuff, but they can just keep it in a portfolio and say, we sent this off to this thing, it wasn't used, but I made it.
Yeah.
So
And they can look up, and that's the thing, like with Hit Record system, like everybody's assets are there. So even if they didn't use it for that, they can be used for something
keep
else.
it for something else, yeah.
And they're still there, but at the same time, the artist still owns it, and it's also a portfolio that then you can direct companies to and say, this is my work.
This was used in this, yeah. It's so cool. I love it. It's such a great idea.
Yeah,
And the other question will now be is how many people are going to send in pictures of cock and balls?
Quite a few. I already sent in a tricycle, so
I just photocopied my ass and sent it in. Just PDF that thing right up there, see what happens.
I went full fruit bowl.
He didn't even send a GIF. Ugh.
It was a ping.
Hey,
Peeing.
Lena Strova would go after you for that one.
So, Rainbow Six has new characters. Do we really need to go into Rainbow Six new characters?
Not really.
No, it's Rainbow Six new characters.
306 new characters, blah blah blah.
Great
Trial-
game continues to be supported. That's what I like to hear. So
Yep, good. Yep. Trials has a new Trials coming out, which is going to just be
Yes.
more Trials. So
Yes.
yeah, but hopefully not bad like the last one.
Trials Fusion was good. I enjoyed it.
Was it?
here we go.
No, I'm thinking it was Trials of the Blood Dragon that got the really bad reviews.
Yeah, that one wasn't great.
It was awful. So
Trials Fusion, yeah.
So that's my picture of a cock and balls.
That's it.
Putting it right in the game.
I'll be submitting it.
They may use it.
they might use it.
That's the best.
It might be a decal for someone's ship.
That's the
Ka-ching.
best part. That's the best part. Somebody may take your decal and put it on their asset for a ship, and then both of those things get used, and you get paid money for
And
it.
you still get paid, yeah.
That's the beauty of hit record. That's how
I
it
love
is.
them so much. I love them.
Because as much as we laugh about this, there are probably people who need 2-year-old, 3-year-old, or just shit drawings for assets to use on stuff, right? That is
Yep.
a thing.
True. Yeah.
You gotta
I
make
just
that
played-
B-roll somewhere.
I just played Detroit, and there is children's drawings in the first house, and someone had to do that, and I bet it wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, realistically, it very well could have been. We all know that devs like to slide their families into games.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happens a lot.
That's true.
So it probably is actually.
By the way, as a side note about Detroit, really easy mocap for that game, huh? You only really needed 10 actors because you're just gonna repeat all of them for the androids.
It's not. It's not motion capture. It's performance capture.
Fun fact: there's a massive library of pre-mocap stuff.
Really?
Yeah, there
Because
is a
they're
huge
androids,
library.
and I'm pretty sure it was just motion capture. Because if this is a performance, then I should have been an android.
If you keep slighting Connor, I'm going to slap you.
Connor was best character in that game by far. He was point of view character. Also, he had Hank.
He had Hank. Yes.
He had Hank. Nobody else had Hank. Hank and Connor. I just want to see a buddy cop show of that.
That's what I wanted. That's what my gameplay was.
It's Hank and Connor, buddy cop. Because they had good cop, bad cop.
Speaking of Detroit, and as a callback to last week, as a member of Will's family, I would just like to point out that he's been disowned officially because he didn't know who Clancy Brown was, who clearly is the Kurgan from the Highlander, and it was his greatest part ever.
Thank you.
No. He's from Starship Troopers, and that's how he'll always be remembered.
Sergeant Vin, yes.
Sergeant Zim. But he is the king of the B part in everything sci-fi.
If you need
He's
someone with a
literally
gravelly
been-
voice that isn't Vin Diesel, he's the guy to go
literally
to.
been the
T.
crack
Pollen, man.
cop that's had a shit life in nearly everything.
Let's a slow clap for T. Pollen there with the 300 bits.
Woo! Thank you.
You get a slow clap. Sir.
Wow.
I like to think that was for Clancy Brown.
And the fact that Will's no longer owned by his own family.
Yeah.
Those two things combined create 300.
Shame, Will. For shame. He's like
150 bits for a disowning, 150 bits for Clancy Brown.
All right. The Division 2. I know we've already kind of talked about it, but it's the Division. It's more of it. Talk about. I mean, I have some hope for this game because of what they've done after the shit show that was their release, to really try and build it up and actually make it a decent shooter. Also, they made things less bullet spongy.
Yeah, that's all I really want for anyone that is a fan of that series. It's like, I shot him in the head 3,000 times and that fucker still ain't dead.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
real bored now.
Yeah.
5 points off.
now though they have that, it feels better. And I also like the fact that like they showed you end game progression. Like you play through the story, you hit max level, then you choose your specialization, and then at that point you are now ranking up your specialization as you go through the end game activities. Which
Yeah, it's good to know what you're going for after the story's done and stuff.
well, it also gives you the reason to have more than one character. Because really, why would you
True.
have more than one character in the division? It's like it made no point. Now at least there's 3 specializations here. It's like, okay, there's a reason for me to do that. If I want to be the sniper, the grenader, or the crossbow guy.
Good point. It feeds that loop of you needing to fill out every single skill tree.
Gotta
in
check
some
that
way.
box. Gotta check that box.
Check the boxes.
And then, oh crap, I got this really good bow, but I can't use it on my sniper. Gotta roll a bow guy now. That has happened to me more times than I can count. But the division.
Destiny.
Oh,
I've had to respec entire Dark Souls runs because of a single stupid drop.
So the division, Donkey Kong Rabbits DLC, Mario Rabbids Donkey Kong DLC.
I think it's fun.
Just make a new Donkey Kong game!
No, we don't need that.
Skull and Bones, like
That looks good.
what Sea of Thieves should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all agree on
It
that.
already looks
then
more
some.
fun. I never thought I'd say that. It just does. They haven't even like tried to force how fun it looks by putting influencers or content creators out there. They're just like, no, this is what the game looks like. Just make your own decision off of it. They're not
This is
doing
what
these
we're trying to do, guys.
real fake like group meetings of YouTubers together, being like, oh look, we're drunk pirates.
I read a bit about that, and so that interested me because they turned around and said, "Yeah, it's all the cool stuff from Assassin's Creed Black Flag,
Yeah.
but just in its own game." I was sold at that point.
Yeah, no, like they got that. Like that's the one thing. Like Ubisoft does some questionable things, but at least they like when they realize they've got good assets on something, they at least like, yeah, we understood that this was good. We're just gonna do more of it.
It was a good move.
Don't worry, they'll break it after launch. It's fine.
It's of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Transference VR.
They'll make you pay for cannons that you can then put in your ship.
No. It's each cannonball.
Oh, good point. Actually, yeah, a pack of 50, that kind of thing for like £2.90.
Yeah.
Transference
Or you
VR.
can farm it for 14 hours.
Transference.
It's a VR thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, the Elijah Wood thing. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that part. I got up to take a piss.
All right.
Be honest. I saw Elijah Wood and I'm like, nah, that's probably a good time to use the bathroom.
Yeah, this is fine. This is. Where
I don't
the
need
women pay
Frodo
attention.
talking to me
It's
about
okay.
video games.
It reminded me of Observer, which was out last year. It was something
Yes.
that Ian Higdon played on his streams. And it's something I think Vicky got recently as well. But yeah, it reminded me so much of that. It's like, is this a different game?
It has a very similar plot, yes. The interesting thing is that it was announced, I think, last year originally, or possibly even the year before. But it
Yes.
was just a VR game, and he announced on stage that coming to traditional platforms as well. And I'm like, well, that's a bit of a cop out, isn't it? You were doing this specifically to do VR, and then you're like, oh shit,
Man, I can make enough
nobody's gonna
money.
play this.
Is it because VR burst the bubble slightly, or the VR bit's starting to shrink? Again?
It's possible that the allure of VR is not so high anymore, and anyone who was initially going to run out and go and grab one has done that. So they're like, shit, now we know what our limited bubble is. Put it on everything else, quick. Make it playable like a regular game.
Because how many games in VR did Sony show this year? Which we'll get to in a bit.
One.
And that was after the press conference.
Yes. But they did specifically say they weren't going to be showing any, so that's fine.
Sony at least told you. They told you up front what to expect.
They told you what you were going to watch.
Yeah, they literally
Wait.
told you what you were going to watch.
Wasn't Decine
Yes.
on Sony's?
Wasn't what? Sorry, I didn't hear that one.
Decine or Jacine.
The one from Software.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one.
that
That's
was
the
on the Sony one. Yeah.
right. So that one's a VR only.
Yep.
Yes.
Which makes that the second one because that wasn't after the show. That was
No,
Jeremy.
that was the one after the show.
Yeah, it was literally right after they did a hard cut and then they showed it.
They said, "Let's show something new live." Yeah, let's show something new live, guys. And then that's it. That's literally what the guy said in that tone of
Hey,
voice.
guys.
Starlink, a game with Star Fox. So basically, yeah, it's Lego Dimensions, but with spaceships. Right? Am I wrong here?
You're not wrong.
Let's buy toys to stick on our things to play this game.
I like what Alana from IGN calls it, which is No Man's Skylanders.
Yes, exactly what it is. No Man's
Yes.
It's a
Skylanders.
very good description for that game.
That's I was gonna say Skylanders meets Elite Dangerous because it looks better than No Man's Sky. Don't get me wrong.
It doesn't take much.
Does it look better than Skylanders?
Well, yeah.
That's a tough one.
Just so I know.
Star Fox. That was a big thing that was a major win for.
That was a huge thing where they were just like, oh, but there's also this, and yeah, it was the Nintendo exclusive Starlink stuff with actual Star Fox, and
But I put-
nobody was expecting that.
So I put a question to you all though, and I put a question to chat as well. Have Toys to Life had their day?
Yes,
Yes.
this is the problem. It's definitely died out.
I have a young lad that is obsessed with Skylanders and will continue to be for at least another 10 years, probably.
I live with a full-grown man that is also obsessed with Skylanders, and he will not stop collecting them. He's almost done. It was the same with Disney Infinity as well. So I know there are people out there that do want this, and he wants this as well, especially now it's got Star Fox in it. And he's
Primary
like, I'm going
schools
to
are
buy
full of
two versions now because he wants his trophies on PlayStation and he wants Star Fox on a Switch. So there's always going to be a market for it, but I do think in general most people are like, I'm done buying this shit that fills my house that I have no room for. Coming from someone who bought Nintendo Labo, I totally agree. So... which has been in the bag on top of my shelf since I finished those streams. So
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Vicky says, Lego Dimensions is very cool. It's just it seems to have had its day with Skylanders. Didn't they stop Skylanders? I know they stopped making more Lego Dimensions.
Skylanders has ceased development because they were working on Spyro the Dragon. It's the same guys. It's Toys for Bob. So, and they're using the same engine from Skylanders in that, and you can tell the moment you look at everything in it, it looks exactly the same. It's beautiful as well. So they've been kind of on the back burner, but they never officially canned the series. So there's a chance it will come back.
You've got Skylanders Academy now on Netflix, which has just finished its second season, so they're keeping it kindled that way.
Yeah, they're trying to keep kids occupied with the TV show, basically.
Jingle
Which
the keys in
also
front.
my full-grown adult does still watch as well. So.
I watched them all too.
Yeah.
Only because the kids were, but...
Oh, of course.
Really? Is that why you had it on when they weren't there?
Okay, For Honor has a DLC.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Moving on.
I'm happy for that community.
Yeah. The Crew 2, Will? Are you going to talk to us about the Crew 2?
Yeah, I mean, the Crew 2 is an open beta coming soon. People who didn't get into the closed one, it gives you different vehicles, so you can do flying, being on water boats. It looks a bit more in depth and maybe slightly Crew. Because the Crew was all right. It was just once you finished it, it was just okay. What do now? Let's drive across America for about 2 hours. Yeah, all right. And that's what it was. There's bound to be some loot boxes or some microtransactions in it somewhere. So hopefully they've actually done something to this. But yeah, I mean, the flying looks pretty.
And then finally we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yes, or Sparta.
or as I like it, you can be anybody, screw anybody, and it's probably the origin story for the Templars. Would
Yeah,
be my
because
guess.
you can play, and this probably gets people on the internet angry.
Oh
You can play as
god.
a man or-
You
As
play
what?
as a man or woman, and there are gay people in it, and apparently that's not historically accurate.
What the fuck?
What? Not historically accurate for Greece? Are you sure?
I mean, that's the most accurate for Greece.
It's the most
honestly.
accurate for Greece. Like they coined the term orgy. Yeah, that was the thing that they did a lot.
Like it was perfectly fine to be gay until you get married. Like that was it. That was their limit. It was like
Like
you
the
just still had to
Roman
get
Legion.
married. That was it.
The Roman Legion, like that was all about being gay. Like they were battle brothers for a reason. There was yeah. So that wraps up Ubisoft. I think it was probably one of their stronger conferences they've had in a little while. Once again, because they were like, this is this. They kind of kept it moving, but gave you gameplay.
It was the least awkward of all of their conferences for a very long time.
Yeah.
They didn't have any of the weird moments where they just go on too long talking about eagle flight. But I don't know, it felt like it lacked something, and I can't put my finger on it. It felt, despite the big reveals they had, it just felt really dead.
Yeah, there was something definitely
spirit.
missing, wasn't there?
I don't know if it's even spirit as such, but there was definitely like no humanity there.
It was very corporate.
Very, yes. Even with, Gordon Levitt being on stage, it's very weird. It just, yeah, I can't put my finger on it. It felt weird and off to
It's
me.
like
And
they
a
brought out
lot
an
of them did to
RX300.
me, actually.
They just had a load of RX300s come out on stage and just say before they could be corrupted.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Hi, Destro. that's sorry, new follower thing. All right, now we're gonna move right on to Sony.
Oop.
We got our last two coming up. Starting off with The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes, that now. The actual conference was very weird because I thought they were in that church bit, and I thought, hang on, this is a different setting for it. And then they did The Last of Us 2 trailer. I love the way they tied it in to where they were in real life.
They wanted it to be an
Is like that.
experience,
Yeah.
which props for trying to be innovative with the conference, like
Yeah.
Sony trying to get that, but it made for like the people who weren't there and had to like watch like all right, well, everybody's else moving around, we're gonna sit here and talk. It's like we didn't need like the commentary, like maybe like a trailer of something else or like something else going on that you could have done in the background. I didn't need to see generic white presenter 1 and generic bald presenter 2 talk about Sony games.
So the problem I had with that part is not that it so much that it was massively awkward and very badly done.
Yep.
It was that the stuff that they showed us was the stuff they'd been showcasing throughout the week, which if you were already a Sony fan online, you'd already watched all that shit. So I don't need to see very early concept games or Tetris Effect twice in a row. I don't need to see these things that you've asked us to give you feedback on these things as well. They were all like, this is a new format that we're trying out. We're going to show you one game a day in the lead up to E3. It's only going to be like 10 minutes long. And then they showed them again while they were shuffling all these angry journalists into the actual studio and then fucking up their audio as well, which I will get into later.
Yep. But The Last of Us 2, yes. It looks very good.
Yes, The Last of Us 2 was a very good showing.
Yes,
And-
very good showing. It looks very strong, and I'm glad that they didn't show Joel.
Yeah.
Well, Joel
that
has
makes
been
me
confirmed to
wonder-
not be playable as well.
Which
That
I'm
makes
happy.
me
Which I'm
wonder
happy
what
for.
Mm-hmm.
I had one big problem with the kiss scene, and it was the audio. It was so gross. Oh, there was so much noise. It was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get super ASMR with this kiss. I was like, everything else was fine. I was like, okay, cool. She's got a new love interest. What's gonna happen to her because everything in Ellie's life goes wrong?
Mhm.
So that's my big question: is what's gonna happen to her? But then the noise was just like my ears. And I know there was a lot of.
I did find it very funny that they decided to really emphasize the sounds of a kiss, but the sounds of strangling a man and cutting his throat. They weren't quite so ASMR with it.
But, like, that's exactly it. It was just like the gameplay was like, okay, this is where the audio should be, and then they just was like, oh, let's make it as smacky as possible. That's what everyone wants to hear today, right?
Yeah. and then because the audio was messed up in general at the beginning of all of it, it was then double sound as well. It like echoed, so it made it even worse.
So they also talked about Call of Duty, which I don't think we need to go into. It's,
That was when the stream died for me, so I didn't even know that had been shown. I was like, Call of Duty was missing this year, and everyone's like, no, it wasn't. It was just the stream died. And the little bit of Destiny as well. I didn't see that either. So I was trying to find a stream that worked.
It's a trailer. It's Destiny, the next expansion. They've got things going on with that game. I'm cautiously optimistic, as I always am with anything Destiny.
I need to know about your feelings on Cade.
I think in a game that's had no story, if they need to kill off a character to push a narrative forward, I'm okay with it. Because the game needs a narrative pushed forward.
I do like that they've been trying to build up Cade as a much more important character very suddenly. They were all like, no, this game's really funny and jokey. Look, we've got Cade on show and he's really cool. You like him, right? And then they were like, it's because we're going to kill him later.
Why couldn't they kill like Zavala or like the other
no,
two?
That's the point though, because nobody gives a shit about Zavala. They're boring. You have to do it with the cool, punchy one that talks to robots and like sits in a bar that's destroyed, telling the story of how men fell and just no.
And also is voiced by Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, it's not. It's the Nathan Fillion one. Oh no, it's being killed off.
It's like, well, he's got a TV series now, so shit.
I get the feeling that's a fair amount of why it happened, is because he's doing his own shit.
Yeah, he's probably an incredibly busy man.
James, admin talk post, please.
What? Oh, okay. I have to. Yeah, go ahead.
I should be back in.
Turn off your camera.
Okay.
In Skype.
Yep. There we go.
And just leave. Just get out.
There you go. And just leave and get out.
But like I said, he's been disowned by the family, so.
Yeah. You don't know who the Kurgan was. The Kurgan.
Right. Oh man, you can see my background again. I moved that camera just right.
Blame Lard. Hashtag blame Lard.
Hashtag blame Lard.
I could also fix it midstream, but that would involve me doing so. So we could
just close.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima. Yes.
Ghosts of Tanuki.
I think that game looks dope. I like how fast it looked. I liked all the arty angles they chose that no one would ever play as. I'm interested in the story because it is based on an actual thing that happened. It was a real miniature war, as it were.
I also like the fact where, like, this is one of the few times where I was okay with the interview. It's like, you guys watch a lot of samurai movies. Did you like, we watched all the samurai movies.
Of them, yes. They were very sure to make that obvious that, like, yep, this is all samurai films. And some people were a bit unhappy with the choice of having English. I'm like, well, yeah, this is American presentation. Of course, we're not going to have it in the Japanese voices.
As I said, they're going to have a Japanese audio track that you can
the Japanese VO. I've gone back and watched that, and it's fucking cool.
Yeah,
it just sounds so good.
It's like, have you ever you know the movie Seven Samurai? You remember how badass that was? Do you want to play a game that is literally that?
Yep.
There you go. Done.
Yeah, it does look cool. I'm looking forward to seeing more. I want to know what the actual UI is going to look like and how Soulsy it's going to be, if Soulsy at all. It kind of looks like it could go down that route, but it's hard to tell. There's a lot more maneuverability for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, there were some odd frames going on with some of the fight animation, but it's fine because it's early. It's clearly very early, but it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one thing that really stood out. Is graphically gorgeous to look at, and I'm like, that's not running on a base PS4. No way.
No way.
My PlayStation isn't going to make it look that good.
So we've got Control next, which I don't remember seeing anything about.
So Control is being made by Remedy, which made, what was it, Quantum Break on the Xbox.
Okay.
It's basically, it's set in, I don't remember seeing much of it either. I don't know whether I was incredibly drunk. So I know that it's basically you're set. You work in this building. Is the Federal Bureau of Control. You work as this secret version of the FBI that does all the supernatural cool things, and your building is the lockbox for all these things. And you have this weapon that is a gun, but it changes.
Oh yeah,
form.
now I remembered it now.
Yeah, it's the really cool one that you shoot time bullets or whatever. It's just it's kind of more Quantum Breaky looking stuff, but the concept does sound a lot more interesting. And they've confirmed it's a proper normal game. There's no streaming stuff to you. There's no cutscenes with real people. Don't worry, we've made a game.
Good.
But it does look cool. I'm interested to see more. It's Remedy. They've always proven that they can make quality games. So.
We got Resident Evil 2 being redone on January 25th.
Yeah. I was very surprised to get a release date for that. I'm not a Resident Evil person, but I live with somebody who is, and he wasn't watching it, and I was excited just because I was like, finally, they've spoken about it! It's been like 3 years since you even mentioned you did it, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, it's out in January. What?
They did at Bethesda, which is
They
pretty
did!
much like oh yeah,
And
there's
it was
this game.
incredible.
There's like Fallout 76. Oh yeah, by the way, you're playing it this year.
Yeah, it's like
What?
I'm like, what? I felt it was very fun the way they led into it as well, because they made it start off looking like a VR game where you play as a rat.
I was like, what the fuck is this? This whole spiel, like, I'm just like, what is this? Are you a mouse? What is? Like, my notes are just all over the place with it.
Yeah, and then of course it got to the zombie bit, and I'm like, oh, it's just another zombie game. And then you see, like, Leon in the doorway. I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing! Because I really, genuinely wasn't expecting to see it anywhere. Not this year, at the very least, because they kept so quiet, and all of the leaks had come out for everything else. So
Sometimes you leak other stuff so that your main leaks that you don't want don't come.
exactly.
Smoke and mirrors.
Yes.
Trover Saves the Universe.
So that's the one. That's the really weird one, isn't it?
That's the Justin Roiland one. And I'm
That's
just
the
like,
one. Thank you.
it's gonna be a Justin Roiland game, so it's just gonna be like the same jokes
It's
over
just
and
going to
over
be
again.
more screaming from Lemon Grab from Adventure Time.
Yeah, and Bathtub Guy. I remember it's Bathtub Guy.
Bathtub Guy.
It's just gonna be more shit like
Who's
that.
just
It's
Rick
gonna
and
be-
it's Rick and Morty.
My brother has already pre-ordered it. He's like, I know what that is. I'm getting it.
Then we also had the news from about Kingdom Hearts 3 and how you can buy all of Kingdom Hearts on one package on PS4. We talked about Kingdom Hearts. We don't need to go into more Kingdom Hearts.
Apart from the fact
I
that it
thought
was
that was
the
a
only
neat
one
little
that had a
thing.
unique trailer.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, you had a conference, Square. Why didn't you have the unique trailer, you idiots? It's just.
And then Death Stranding.
That was fun.
I immediately, the only thing I can think of ever since I saw that trailer is just the meme was, is this game? like what is this? I don't know what it is. No, because now it's like, okay, is he like just some weird fucked up delivery guy?
I really want that to just be UPS Simulator of the Future. I think that's a great idea.
Like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, number one, it's obviously like very Metal Gear. Like it is literally the same engine that they made.
The animations are straight from Metal Gear.
It's straight from
so-
Metal Gear. But it's
Yeah.
like, I'm sitting there just like looking, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I know it was Guillermo del Toro and freaking, Hideo Kojima, but this is going off the rails. Like, Where are we going with this?
The other thing, obviously, to consider is he makes a very good point of him being a delivery guy, a delivery man, and it's like the game is about babies, so delivering babies. So there's that as well.
Dad is mom. Confirmed.
But the thing that I noticed in the trailer that no one else seemed to speak about is that he's got all these different packages he's carrying across different landscapes, but one of them is straight up an adult human being shape.
Yeah, body. He's carrying a dead body.
It's a real body. I'm like, so this is the transporter without a car.
Yeah.
And did you? How about the throwaway line? I know people are like, "Listen, man, if you get touched by one of them, I know you're coming back, but it's gonna cause a dead zone for like a kilometer,
It's gonna be
like
a crater where you were, and you'll still be alive."
And I'm sitting there going, like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I really want to know what that's about. I think it was Giant Bomb had this theory about it, where they're like, you're carrying around this baby. They think it's actually essentially a clone of you. When these things touch something, it ages rapidly, and they're thinking, right, what happens is this big explosion goes off, you die of old age, but your baby grows up to be an adult.
But that's the thing too, because
so you just carry on.
if you look at the past trailers, like he's woken up after a giant explosion, everything's dead around him, and he's butt naked, holding the baby with an umbilical cord.
Yep. Yes. And also his skin is incredibly fresh and pink and brand new in nearly every single scene that we've seen him in. So I'm like, yeah, I think this is a valid thing to consider for the possible plot of this game, whatever it is. And I do like that it ended on you dying but not showing why it happens. It was like Kojima was playing it. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get past these, and then he fucked it up, and they're like, use it anyway because that's more fun.
It just, there's so many ways that this game is gonna go.
Yes.
So many questions that we don't have answers to. And I just don't know. And like what is this going to be? Like I can't put my finger on like what this game is going to be. And if it's literally just what we just talked about, but also plays like a Metal Gear game. Because let's be honest, Metal Gear Solid 5, despite its like shit of like story, the controls for that game are pretty. Like he had the stealth controls and the mechanics down tight. Like you could control Snake and with a reasonable amount of idea know where he was going and know what you were doing. But it's like what is this? I don't know. And I want to know so much more. And Kojima's just a fucking dick. and I swear that this and Guillermo del Toro can make some really ridiculous nightmare fuel.
Yes.
So like, and obviously Kojima has is a fucked up brain in his own right. So now you're combining those two together, and they basically wrote them a blank check. I think this game is going to be it's going to be nuts. It's going to be out of control. It's already nuts. And it's got Norman Reedus involved in it, who's Norman?
Super cool.
Yeah, no. It's like, I liked it was for a while. It was just like, all the memes were like, hey, Sony writes you a blank check to make your best friend go fucked up shit in Mocow. And I'm like, well, no. Wow, this is like really weird. Yeah, I want to know what's going on. Like, I just want to know the story. Like, I could care how the game is. I want to know how this exists.
I know it's going to play fine because I trust Kojima to be able to produce something that plays excellently. Yeah. So I need to know the important part that drives the gameplay.
Yeah, that's one problem. Like gameplay has never been a Kojima issue. Storytelling has been a Kojima issue.
A very, very specifically Kojima problem. Yes.
And like having Guillermo del Toro in there, I'm like, okay, this could be okay. This could be okay, but at the same time, it could also just be two people pushing each other. Like, you want to know, what if we did this? But what if we did this? But with this? But what if we did this?
Let's go crazier. Yeah,
exactly.
It's basically M. Night Shyamalan, but in two people.
Yeah. It's just like each guy's pushing each other forward, and I don't know where this could go. I probably will pre-order it when it comes out, just because I need to know.
Yeah, I have to make sure that definitely comes to my front door.
Like I need to know what happens. Like that was my you were exactly right. Why is Norman Reedus carrying a dead body or a body or
It's
something
just a
that
body.
looks
I don't even think it's dead. I think it's just being moved.
like why and like why does he have
It's
like
just asking what the fuck's going on the entire time. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what's out there? I can't see.
why does he have a clicky lamp that's tied to a baby that's tied to an umbilical cord to his body?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me as well. Why the flapper?
Well, the flapper is what identifies the floaty, creepy things that give me nightmares.
Yeah,
So,
but it looks like the light is the thing that does it. Why the flapper?
Because it's armor.
refresh rates.
I gotta flap it. All right.
I think
can see now. Keep flapping.
I do like how he is building like because we've seen that flappy thing in the CGI trailers for years now, and it's like
Yeah.
he was building it into the story. So when it shows as an actual gameplay mechanic, it's like he's already established that this is in the world of the CGI.
We're trying to be super quiet, so we're going to design this really loud device.
We're gonna design the flapper. It's gonna flap. It's gonna be loud, and it's just gonna go.
And also, no one else is going to care about this because this is a specifically me thing. But he wears like 15 different outfits in that trailer.
Yeah.
I want to collect those outfits. I want to know what the specs are on all of them and what they do
They're
and what the
probably just
specialties are.
cosmetic.
I don't care. I need them
Well, here's the
all.
thing. If your theory about the thing aging out the stuff and him basically, becoming a melting,
Yeah.
then I have the idea that you're gonna be naked.
Yes,
In
a
the game.
lot. I get that feeling. You're going to lose all your stuff when you die, and you're going to have to
Yes.
collect everything again.
As a result, you're gonna have a lot of different sets of clothing because
Because you died.
it's all gonna melt. It's just gonna rot away.
Yeah, that's what all that black sludge is. It's just your clothes.
It's gonna be good or bad. It's gonna be a thing. And it's gonna
Yes.
be weird. I can say if any 100% right, it's gonna be weird.
I liked the invisible monsters growing the grass like around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from that, we've got Neo 2.
Neo.
Neo 2. I own Neo.
That was short and sweet. I expected a little bit more, to be honest. I didn't expect it to be there, but the fact that it was, and then they were just like, "Yep, it's a thing." No gameplay, nothing.
Japanese horror, Bloodborne /
Bloodborne, yep.
Soulsy. Then we got Spider-Man.
Oh, that looked so good.
Yeah.
It was so smooth.
I also like the fact that they had Adam Miles in there too. Did anybody else notice that?
I didn't notice Miles in there.
Yeah, they said, "Hey
Nope.
Miles," when he turned and looked at the black guy in the thing. He was like, "Hey Miles." It was Adam Miles.
It's the Spider-Verse.
It's the Spider-Verse.
They might even have Spider-Gwen too.
It might have Spider.
Not
Yeah,
sure.
because Gwen Stacy was in the trailer as well. I think they have all of
Oh,
them.
hello.
Oh, hello, Will.
Hey.
You missed us talking about Death Stranding.
I was listening to some of it while my mouth was.
Okay, so you're new. All right, so now we're on to Spider-Man. I hope they bring the Scarlet Spider in because I like Scarlet Spider. And they also said that he's been doing this for 8 years.
Yeah, this is older Spidey. This is he's in his mid-20s.
Best
So
Spidey.
he's been doing it for a while.
I grew up with
This
the
is
90s
real
cartoon.
Spidey.
The 90s cartoon
My Spider-Man.
Spidey.
We had like the 60s Spider-Man. You know, when we were like,
I had the 90s animated cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon man.
I love middle-aged Spidey just because
Yeah.
like he's just like he's older, he doesn't have like all that, he still has all that awkward teen angst, but he's an adult now.
I appreciate that they're going for the older Spidey just because young Spidey's been done so often,
Yeah.
all the time. I don't need his origin story. I need you to tell the story that the comic books have been telling for the last 40 years. He hasn't been a young man for an incredibly long time. Even like in the spin-offs, I think it was just Ultimate where he was young Spidey, and all the
Yeah.
others are still when he was grown up, or wasn't even Peter Parker, as you said, it was Miles or whatever.
And that's because
and
Peter
it's
Parker
like-
was dead.
Yeah, which is cool. It just is.
Yeah.
So I just like the idea of finally someone's trying to tell the story of a Spidey that's been doing this a while. He's well practiced. He's not clumsy, as it were. He can fix a problem.
I just like the fact that it's competent. He's competent, but he still acts
Yeah.
like a fucking goofball.
Yeah,
Which is what I've
It's
always
part of
loved
his
about
charm.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started collecting Spider-Man, because I collected the comics for a while, I collected in when they did the run where like Peter had retired from Spider-Man and the Scarlet Spider, his clone, had come back to New York and then took over being Spider-Man. So he
Yeah.
was Ben Reilly. And so like he was the clone of Spider-Man and he was like fighting and doing everything, and Peter Parker was retired and was having his first kid with Mary Jane. I'm like, this is an interesting story. It's like, what if, and like he was conflicted about not being Spider-Man, and Riley's like, I know I'm your clone and I'm supposed to be you, but like, let me do this. You've done it enough. You know, I want to be my own.
Have your time.
Yeah, I want to be my own man, and I can prove it by being Spider-Man and not be the second fiddle to you. And you can retire and be your own person. And then I stopped collecting it when like Carnage came back and took over Peter Parker, and like so he was fighting Carnage as Ben Reilly as Spider. It was interesting. It was very 90s though. Like
Yes.
Peter had like a mullet, and it was like, you know. It was like the first thing you see. He's got long brown hair that kind of like is mullety, and like a black leather and a brown leather jacket with a white button-up shirt tucked into jeans and biker boots. Like total 90s.
Also want to say hello and welcome back to Reese's, even though Mike is muted.
Welcome back.
Hello.
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 So, Spider-Man's a thing. It's Spider-Man. Let's go.
Spider-Man. I'm optimistic about Spider-Man. If they do it like Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2, then it'll be very good.
Yeah.
It's very clearly Batman Arkham games Spider-Man. So
Except with way more freedom of movement.
yes.
That's not
way more.
necessarily a bad thing. Though.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm saying that as a positive because those games are really good and they play very well.
Yeah.
And it suits
And so
Spidey
far,
to a T.
They really seem to like nail the line. So like we're like, oh my god, you're 5 worst enemies. Only 5? Psh, whatever. You know, at least it's not 6.
And then the
So-
cliffhanger.
What do we think about them showing off all the new villains? So it's basically the Sinister Six, but they only showed 5 of them.
Yeah.
Well,
We're the
technically, I
Sinister
think at
Six.
the end,
I only count 5 of you. Shut up.
It's like,
I think technically at the end, I don't know if he's actually part of 6 or what, if Mr. Negative.
Hmm. Yeah,
think
Mr.
he
Negative
came
is
in
clearly
technically-
filling the role there.
Yeah,
Kingpin.
at least for now. Yeah.
Yeah. So who do we think is the guy that, well, or girl, I guess, that pops up right at the end that you don't get to see?
Green
Or
Goblin.
both, you don't know.
You really think it's Green Goblin?
It's kind of his main intent.
No.
Is one of his main biggest. I mean, what else do you have?
Well-
Is it Mysterio? Is it?
Mm.
Is it
Well,
gonna be?
thing-
Is it gonna be? It's not gonna
Yeah,
be Mysterio.
one thing that I heard
Taskmaster.
The Craven.
is-
Taskmaster.
Punisher. Remember, Punisher was a Spider-Man villain for a while.
Punisher also doesn't glow, though.
Well,
This
one
thing
thing
was,
too
this
that
thing was
was
giving off a light.
Mysterio then.
Mysterio does.
Green Goblin
There's-
could.
There's some people talking about it being possibly Harry Osborn's Goblin.
yeah.
Just
Some people
apparently
saying-
in the demo that journalists got to try out, they specifically keep saying that Harry is not in town currently. He is away. He's not mayor at the well, he is mayor, but he's away. He's not in the city. I'm like, that
No,
lends
man.
credence to the reason
Yeah.
why he's not around. So
I mean,
Okay.
it could be Venom.
Some people think also possibly could be a hero that like they tricked or like Mr. Neighbor might have somehow turned.
yeah,
Change
yeah, that's
things.
something I've seen a couple of people chat about as well.
But who?
So
Like,
that's the thing.
that's
I
the-
can't think of
The
someone.
only, but what hero would want to like? The whole point is number one, Spidey. Like, if they're not going to pull the Avengers into this thing, so you can pretty much write them off.
No, it's the Spidey game.
It's a Spidey game. The only like characters he really has a lot of touch with that are other heroes, it's Daredevil, because he's street level. He's had a lot of interaction with Daredevil and the X-Men. He deals a lot with the
X-Men.
X-Men.
Well, they show
Human
Watanabe is in the demo as well that they show, and she, what's her goddamn name? Is it Spectre or something? Her
Yeah.
hero name or something. So some people are talking about that. Like she's gone like, I'm gonna go and get help. Don't worry. And then obviously then it'll be like the reveal is what some people are talking about. I'm like, yeah, but nobody knows who Spectre is.
Obviously it's
She'll carry
Gwenpool.
absolutely no interest by the general public. They'll be
It's
like,
the
what the fuck
Rhino.
is this?
It's Gwenpool. Gwenpool is the secret one.
That would be cool.
That would
Gwenpool.
change the tone of the game drastically.
I'd be okay with this.
All right, so I'm cautiously. The only problem with this game, and it's not that there's a problem for me. It's just there will be a problem for other people. It's just a problem for me. Is that they have like time trial missions, and I fucking hate time trial missions. Like, get to this spot in this amount of time, and you have it for this many points, this many points, and this many points, or then you can't unlock this ability, and that just. I'm not good at those, so I just look at that kind of thing and go, well, fuck.
I just don't like it. Yeah, but the thing is, in other Spidey games that did that, however, just handled badly. So there's a possibility that yes, you don't like them and you don't think you're good at them, but if they make the controls better, it will at least be bearable.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance did the same thing with comic discs.
It's just.
Right.
I'm not fond of time trial stuff either, but if the controls are as swish as they look, then hopefully that'll allay some of that. A little bit.
Right, so finally from the Sony conference, we have the Desversante, or whatever it was, from Software, which is like the Create Anything VR game. Am I right? Because they like all the interludes they created from that. So.
Oh.
Yeah, the Racine or something.
Yeah, like so, like all those like weird like musical interludes that you saw in between their trailers was made in that game. In the
No, that
was
made
my
in
Dream.
Dream.
Oh, that was made in Dream. All right, so I'm thinking of something completely different. I'm
Which
thinking of
was
Dream.
also completely absent from the entire thing and made a lot of people incredibly angry.
It was actually on the show for E3.
Yeah, it was on the show floor.
It was show floor, and then it was there, but not there. We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have dreams there, but it's just gonna be our interlude kind of thing between stuff. And I think one of their openers was kind of like the musical when it was like loading in before the first musical opener was Dreams.
Yeah.
Because I know Holly was talking about it on the show floor.
Shop floor.
Well, it could be the shop floor.
Please
It could
come
be
and
shop
buy it,
again.
please.
What are you buying?
What are you selling?
Obviously, we're selling Dream.
Dream.
Do you want to buy a Dream?
So that's pretty much Sony's conference. We'll move on to the last one, Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Nintendo.
So,
Yes, Reese?
oh, yeah, I was gonna say that I actually got to talk about experience. I got to go watch it at the Sony at one of the special theaters. They were streaming it. Man, they really need to get their shit together next year. You thought it was weird watching it just once the trailer, going to one of the theaters was pure madness. They did not prep. Like, I don't know if they didn't give the people the proper information or what, but I had to travel all the way to New York to watch it. And then two, like, they expected within 15 minutes, they had to say, all right, we're going to try and sit over 100 people and try to organize them from people who are registered and people who are on a wait list. They did not sort anybody out. Then our list didn't do it alphabetical by last name. It was alphabetical by first name.
Oh god.
It was confused, and the theater was massive too. It's like even though it's 3 floors, it's really like a 6 feet like tall type theater. I had to, you had to take like 7 escalators to get to your theater. So I think within 15 minutes, sit over 100 people and try to sort it all out.
That kind of just sounds like Sony were like, "You're showing this at your theater," and they're like, what?"
Yeah,
Probably because it was a Sony theater.
We had to walk them through how to do their job. Oh yeah, that's totally what we're doing. You want to sort you out? Okay. What else? Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it was pure crazy. The only good stuff, I did get some swag, but it was really just a poster and like some digital codes, which was nice. Which was really like Sony giving me money to basically give it back to them. Here's $20. Cool. Take it right back. I'm just gonna buy some games on PSN. Yeah, it was like being it was fun. The only weird thing too was like, of course, it was so funny. Every time the God of War came up, the trailer, all you heard the whole theater, boy, boy.
Boy.
God of War trailer.
Yeah, that was what we were waiting. They kept on showing all the like previous
Before the
trailers.
show.
They showed the-
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they kept showing all of that. Like every time God of War, everybody kept yelling, boy.
I was just sitting in my boxers at home watching it. I was way more
Yeah, I was like,
comfortable.
Yeah,
I was sat
I
alone
won.
on my chair, on my bed, in a vest and some shorts, drinking and
Aw.
eating all the shit I wanted to do.
Did you make sure you all sat alphabetically?
Recliner chairs.
I lined up my toys in alphabetical order.
It was
that's
me
it.
last.
And with somebody who lives with a guy who has Skylanders, that must have taken a while.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of time spent on not a lot of payoff.
Yes. So I guess we'll move to a Nintendo now.
Yeah.
I didn't watch this conference, so people are gonna have to fill me in. Demon X Machina.
Same.
Armored Core.
Yeah.
Cool.
Armor Core and Zone of the Enders with a very red skin. It looked awesome. I had no expectation of anything like that to even be at a Nintendo showing. It was just like, look at all this cool robot shit, dope ass music, really cool anime sort of looking opener, and then it just hard cut, like no sound, nothing. It just went, this is the title, and then just moved on. And we're like, but...
That was
Right,
really
but
it, though, with
it's
Nintendo,
basically Armored Core, which, by the way, that was the game I was trying to think of for Metal Wolf Chaos.
That's the
XD.
one I said!
Yep.
It's a weird thing though. This conference from Nintendo. It's, again, you could say, well, it's not a Nintendo Direct, but it was almost like a machine gun blast of games that were just coming out. It was just
It was because it was a
straight,
Microsoft
straight.
game, like the conference.
It was very Microsoft-y. It was just trailer.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, the final piece that we'll get on to, so...
All right, and then we had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is DLC but it's a prequel DLC to the actual game.
So I had to look away because I still haven't finished that game, and I haven't been able to get very far in it because I effed up my hand the week I bought a Switch, so I wasn't able to even hold a controller. So I was like, no, spoilers! I've already seen too much. I already know what some of these things are, and I'm really mad about it.
Leaving it at that. We got Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee with the Pokeball.
Yep.
That's dreams come true for like half of everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be able to have a Pokeball with a Pokemon in it.
You have
I
to have
think-
it, though. You have to
I
have
think
it,
this
though.
game is going to be horrendously not for the core Pokemon fan. However, I still want that.
Yeah.
I want that Pokeball.
That's the thing. Nintendo is not making games for their fans. They're making games for kids. Like that's their
Or-
core, is to make games for kids.
Not even necessarily kids in this case. This is definitely to get in that Pokemon Go sort of people that were like, I just like
Made them
Gen 1, I
infinite
just
for
like
them.
Gen 1, and they played it and then they stopped after they started bringing Gen 2 out or whatever. It's definitely to draw those people back in and be like, look, we did what you wanted. You got Gen 1 back, but it's the game, but it's also Pokemon Go, so it's easy. You don't have to fight anything. It's
Well, you can't-
great.
No, there's still battles. I think they've showed battles.
Yeah, there is trainer
Yeah.
battles and there are gym battles, but if you find a Pokemon in the wild, it is just like Pokemon Go. You just chuck a ball,
Then how
and
do I
apparently
level
the
up my Pokemon?
controls.
That's
Sorry?
kind of cool that you can see them in the wall now.
Yeah, it's not like random.
How
You
do I
can
how do
actually-
I level up my Pokemon? I need
You
to I need to
You
murder.
catch more. You catch
to-
more of them, and then you feed them candy.
Which is made from other of
Okay,
the
so,
same Pokemon.
so they're
So
basically
basically-
making it
You
into
meat grinder them.
they are making it a kids game, which is basically
it's baby's first Pokemon. Yes.
yeah,
That sounds big.
it's not like you're sitting there like at Route 1 standing on top of
But
a
yes,
pile of
Pokemon
dead
Go is
Pidgeys.
creepy.
Don't ask how they make the candy.
Meat grinder. They meat grinder the candy.
It's literally a meat grinder. Yeah.
So surely that will lead to a DLC, which is Pokemon BSE or CJD.
So funny you should mention DLC. If you purchase the Pokeball, you get a free Mew, which comes inside it. So technically, there's your DLC for a Pokemon game right there.
Yep.
That's true.
All right, and then we got going on from that. We have Super Mario Party, which I imagine is just a Mario Party game for the Switch.
Yep.
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 Okay.
Yep. Just
I'm
you
excited
enjoyed
for that, actually.
More
It
of
does
that?
look fun. It plays. It's actually the first time we've seen the proof of concept from the patent that came out a few months ago, I think it was, where you can move the screens around each other and they're aware of their spatial awareness. You can like change a map for something to go through, which it was like, oh, that is just a thing. It's not a concept. Your Switch actually does that.
Yeah.
it just
One
knows,
cool thing
which is really interesting.
One cool thing I heard too, you can use like multiple switches too.
Yeah, it's like they even showed it where they could they stacked up the switches on top of each other, and I think there was like an item that you had to find in there, and it could tell whether it was in the third or the first or the fourth one. It was really interesting, but it all still showed the same stuff on the screen. It was so cool that they
because you could have them all stacked up against each other and move them slightly in.
and it would move
another-
stuff, but
Yeah,
it
that's
would
the
make
only thing
it would
I'm
make
worried
sense
about.
spatially. It was really cool.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is gonna be. I know that one person gets really, Mario Party. Somebody's gonna get pissed. So
I mean,
everybody
yeah,
better protect their switches.
It's break a friendship simulator, so
Yeah. You really make sure you have a good hold on your Switch. The last thing you want somebody smacking your Switch away, like, you jerk, stole my stars.
I mean, I was more concerned about the guys that were out camping doing it. I'm like, damn, you must have some big battery packs with you.
So, moving on to the next one, which is Fire Emblem Three Houses. It looks like a Fire Emblem game. It looks like there'll be 3 Warring Kingdoms, and it looks like they just updated the graphics for the Switch.
Yep.
And you get to see the people you battle with, along with your main badass.
Yes, it looks like there's a lot more army involved in it as well. It's not just going to be about your individual units. It looks like you're actually building a faction, and that sort of goes into it as well. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it looked like to me in the trailer. I like the art style. I think it's cool that they're finally like, yeah, here it is. This is the thing that we made. It's nobody's a chibi anymore. Don't worry. Everyone's got normal proportions and look like adults again. Which is great for fans, because I know that is the one thing that they're all like, oh, can we just please make it for adults again? So
It's games about
please.
war.
Exactly, yeah. And it even has like romance options and stuff, obviously, and you can have children in it too. So it's like, yeah, stop making it look like it's for kids. It's not. So
Like I said, Nintendo makes for kids. Like that is their MO.
it is.
They
yeah.
also make for adults, but like their focus is primarily, fun and kids.
families.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but when you're pushing a product that's like for 15 plus, it's like, make it 15 plus. Don't make it look like it's for 3-year-olds.
Yeah, maybe there's adults who like it like that.
I mean, I personally like the art style, but I like chibi art, so
Yeah.
It is
So
what it is.
then we move on from there to Fortnite. It's Fortnite on Switch. There is
Yeah,
controversy about not
Lord.
being able to locking it for
Lord.
PlayStation.
Right. I'm going to roll my sleeves up for this one.
here we go, lads, rant time.
Sony, what the fuck are you playing at? I mean, seriously, what the fuck are you playing at? Locking up, right, Epic Games accounts, if you've played, even if you haven't played Fortnite on PS4, you've played Paladins on it, you still cannot play your Fortnite on your account on an Xbox or a Switch. Fine on a PC, you can do cross-platform PC with it, but anything else, they lock it up. You cannot use it, and which is a fucking terrible move, because at the end of the day, if kids had spent money on this, getting their skins up for the, against the world, and they use them on, the Battle Royale mode, they can't use it. They're essentially being held to ransom almost by Sony for doing this. And it's stupid. Absolutely stupid. There's no real need. So get your finger out your ass, Sony.
Well, it's because they've reached critical masses and they're getting pretty arrogant with the gaming community from what
Yeah.
I can see.
Again,
They're getting the way they were when they released the PS3 again.
Yeah.
It's just they're like, we hold all the cards, dude. There's 80 million of these out in the wild, and if you want to play it on that system, you better just fucking buy one.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not how this works. This is meant to be a free account system, and sadly, obviously, Epic Games does have to bow to this kind of behavior because they're all like, there's 80 million.
I mean,
of
they really don't. Epic Games is
They-
set.
They don't have to, but the thing is if they then just go, well, you have to do this, or we'll take it off your store, Sony will just be like, fine. And then they lose all of those sales.
They'll lose all those sales, plus also the minority holder who owns 46% of the business of Epic Games is Tencent Holdings, which is a Asian company which also has its hands in a lot of other gaming development firms, which means
Tencent is bigger than everyone.
Yep,
So
they would get blackballed from the Sony system of anything that they produce. So it is a monetary move on their part to say we will bow to you because that means we're not going to let all of the other shit that we have investments in not get blackballed from the system.
yeah.
Well, the
that's
thing
what
is,
it
Epic doesn't have to do games anymore. They can just stop.
That's true. They can definitely. Tencent is big enough. Is one of the biggest corporations, or in fact, the biggest corporation on the entire planet. So they can do whatever the fuck they like. It doesn't have to be video games. However, if you're gonna get money in an easy way, why not do it?
make some of the
Raise
people
money.
it's just, it's people are saying, well, you're only getting angry now at Sony this stuff about the price hikes of PSN. It's like, it's not just the Sony part of it. It's the fact that no one knew if you got the game for the PS4.
You
that this
didn't
was
know
gonna
prior
happen.
to it.
Yeah.
There was
Which
no
is-
warning. It was just people downloading it immediately during the conference and like, yeah, it's finally ready. Unless you were in the UK, because for some reason our release date was different. But
4 hours later.
it was 4 hours later. But
That's
yeah,
Brexit
people
for
were
you.
downloading it and then some just going, why can't what?
Well, it took them 4 hours to realize that there's a time difference, so they were just like, oh shit!
Ian Higdon was playing it for Eurogamer when it came out on the Switch because they managed to get an American account and get it early. And the amount of kids apparently that went on to the stream complaining, it's like, why can't we do this? Why isn't this? Apparently, it was a huge shit show. And he got to a point where he's like, I'm sorry, mods, but I'm letting you deal with it. Because I'm closing them out and just playing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mess and it's unfair.
Yeah,
But
it's
it just
Epic
they don't
Express
have to be like consumer friendly anymore because they're so big. So
They don't.
But it's that short-term game to try and avoid long-term pain. Because look what happened with the PS3.
yeah,
How much shit they got.
and then the
It's-
Xbox One when it went the other way. So
Yeah.
and they've been slowly building that back on Xbox's end, and it's finally starting to show that it's paying off. Finally, so I think it's probably going to twist in the next generation and be like, it's all about Xbox again because Sony became dicks. So...
Oh, it's just a big tug of war back and forth. Between
Yeah,
us.
of course
It's
it
going to be
is.
like that for the end of time.
Yeah,
They have no
and
cast
that's
and eye
fine because it breeds better competition and it forces people to make changes anyway. So it's always good. It's just you have to put up with it in the interim.
All right, so then we're gonna move on to Overcooked 2. Once again, I didn't watch the Nintendo presser conference, so I don't know about any of these.
Online play.
Yeah, they added online, and you can throw food now. You're like, I need a tomato. You don't have to have someone slowly walk over to you with it. You can actually
like
just
catch.
catch it to them and catch it. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Killer Queen Black.
So, this is a big deal. If you're super into the arcade circuit, I'm not, but I know people that are. There are only 100 of these arcade units in circulation. In reality, they are a multiplayer arcade that are constantly surrounded by people. It's basically just like a ton of mini games, but they're like really, really, really addictive and really they play well, and they're
So it's
just
like a
there's a lot of
WarioWare
team.
kind of a thing.
So it's like a team-based sort of thing, and it can depend on because there are different modes. So that I guess WarioWare isn't too different to say from that, but they're not like mini games. They're like it is the whole point, like kind of like capture the flag in some cases, but it's like this 2DR and there's like the arena is really big and there's a lot of fighting going on. It's absolutely crazy. They're always absolutely jam-packed, and the fact that they're just finally bringing it to a console when people have been like, I need to be able to play this somewhere else. It's a really nice thing that they finally did, and people are extremely excited about it, especially Killer Queen fans. So they're like, oh, I don't have to go to the arcades to see if I can actually get on the unit. They can be like, just boot up my Switch. There you go. 4-player. It's normally meant to be 5, but obviously because of how controllers work, you only get 4. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Well, then we have Hollow Knight came out. Obviously, Hollow Knight is Hollow Knight. Everybody kind of knows that game at this point. The devs are super awesome.
Yes.
So you should get that. Octopath Traveler again. Obviously, it's coming out on the Switch. So
it's coming out. We've already discussed this.
Yep.
It's so close.
They had a game reel.
It was just a showcase of some other indies, I think. Just like upcoming stuff. Oh, it wasn't just indies actually. It was just like their upcoming stuff, because they even showed things like Captain Toad and other bigger titles coming up, like Mario Tennis, and Dark Souls, things like that. So it was kind of like a lineup of what's coming up in the next 6 months, kind of deal.
Okay, and then finally they ended with the big boy, Super Smash Brothers.
Yes. 25 minutes of it.
Everybody's coming.
Everybody, apart from
Waluigi. I like that. That's the big thing that everyone's pissed about.
But did
Still no
anybody see
playable
the
Waluigi.
meme online? It shows the hand for the final battle, and then they uncover it, and it's actually just Waluigi's hand, and he's manipulating it from the background.
You're all along.
I love that there's a meme going around. Here's everyone coming in from every Super Smash Brothers bit. Here's this, here's this, here's this. Now, don't ask me for anything else again.
For God's sake. Whereas I wanted to send him a tweet, but he doesn't really do Twitter. And I wanted to be like, where's my fucking story mode? Huh? Where's my campaign? Yeah, where's that, Sakurai? Give me that. That's so you haven't got me everything, have you?
You will rage quit so hard.
Yes.
But I don't play Smash, so I haven't got much words to say on it. I just know that I run the campaign. It's been missing, so.
It's PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. So how that should have been.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, of course.
Someone say Battle Royale.
Hey guys, I heard you like Battle Royale.
Back in
they did have another announcement. They actually announced another character as well. They finally brought in, like the fans wanted, Ridley from the Metroid series, but made him tiny.
Yeah.
That was really cool, a really nice touch, but again, not Waluigi, so...
Still not worth. Boycott until Waluigi.
Boycott
Boycott.
DLC.
Why aren't we selling anything? Well, you didn't put Waluigi in, so I mean, the fans don't have their favorite character.
I mean, they didn't say that there aren't going to be more characters, they just said don't expect them too often. So, there's always a chance. He could still come.
DLC.
Yep.
Alright, so that was all of the E3 conferences.
Except one bit we didn't say.
Which you can talk about.
Yes, the PC gaming show. There's one bit I want to mention. It is a battle royale game. I know. But it's called Rapture Rejects, and it's an isometric top-down game, and it's from Cyanide and Happiness. And it had one of the best trailers ever.
Okay.
It was It was
It
a
was-
lot of fun.
It was awesome. I mean, you got this guy there praying at the start of his own. Like, she comes, please let me hang out with you, blah blah blah. And you got his flatmate who's just burping, just listening to music, just being, just being a slob.
Swearing, being a horrible person.
So this guy goes to bed, and then the rapture happens, and he's watching all these people, and he's just wondrous, and then you hear boom, 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 as his flatmate is actually banging off the ceiling as he's the one who's the rapture. So he's like, "Fine, bro." so you move him out, and he realizes like he's been left on Earth. And so he goes, "Oh fuck it!" He starts drinking, rips his shit off. So he just starts causing chaos, and that's the that's the start of it. The game. It looks fucking hilarious.
It's going to be
Isn't that
really
just
fun.
the plot from the film The End of the World? Was it with Jay Baruchel and Franco?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know. Movies are not my thing, so I am not going to know.
It
I
wouldn't
think they had a
surprise me if
little bit more plot, but like
Like
they had a purpose. They had a direction, but I don't remember what it was. At World's End, I believe it was called.
the direction was more sort of really long.
But yeah, Rapture's Rejects, like I said, it is a battle royale, but it's done in the Cyanide and Happiness art style. So it is like these little tiny cartoon men going around doing atrocious things to each other to last the longest. It's really nice looking. I'm gonna have to say it's attractive to look at. It looks like it's gonna be as funny as any standard Cyanide and Happiness cartoon is. It's definitely got the humor there straight away. So it's one of the ones that I'm definitely more interested in, just because it's an animation, so you can draw any old asset you want in there and really make up some crazy stuff on how get your kills in, as it were.
And yeah, it's what was I going to say? It's out actually on Alpha. The Alpha on RaptureRejectsAlpha.com. And that's you can sign up to try it.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be my first battle royale.
Okay, then, James.
So we're gonna wrap this up. So what I'm gonna ask everybody is, you're gonna tell me the best game and show, best conference, worst conference.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's first?
Yep. Who wants
Okay.
to go first? I'll start. I'll give people choices first if they want to go first. If not, I'll choose.
I'll go first because it'll be short because I didn't watch a lot of it. I read some. So best game for me is Fallout 76. That's a bit of a no-brainer, but that's because I'm fully subscribed to that whole story. Microsoft, I thought that they came off really well. I don't think in past years, in all the press, you've read that Sony's been the big boys, but Microsoft seem to do really well. Worst, I just have to say Sony. But then, I back Microsoft all the way, so I'm biased.
Fanboy!
All right. Who wants to go next?
I'm trying to figure out what my gaming show would be.
I'll go next then. Right. So, gaming show Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Oh, that trailer made me want that game so badly. Best conference. Now, this is where the controversy is going to be. I think once again, Devolver Digital,
No.
the best conference because of the story they kept. The jokes
no
were
substance.
on fire.
No
doesn't have-
substance. None.
Um,
It's better than like
Except-
half. I give it a mid tier, but there's no substance.
I would agree there. I very much wholeheartedly agree there. It didn't have enough.
There was the RoboCop joke at the end as well.
I liked that. That was
Yeah.
Style points 10 out of 10. Like, they had the funniest conference. But if you're talking as a conference as a whole, as in like style, talking, content, production values, and like everything, they had 3 games.
But that was my best one. My worst one, don't think this is going to be any surprise. EA.
Yeah.
apart from, Unravel 2, Sea of Solitude, there was nothing there that was any interest at all. They could have just got away with saying FIFA 19 and that was it. For it to still be horrible. And they could not have bothered with a comments, but no shit. Bullshit.
Who wants to go next? No,
Thinking
jump at it at
of,
once.
my game. I'm trying to think my game.
It's not Doom.
Well, here's the thing. I'm taking my bias out of it. As much as I love Doom, I don't think it was the best presentation, just because all it was a tease.
Yeah, this is the thing. A lot of the really cool things were like, we didn't actually see anything. So
I mean,
it's not really a gaming show because you didn't see the game.
I'll tell
Exactly.
I'll easily tell you mine then, because I'm not taking the bias out of it. The whole point of this is it's your opinion, so I'm asking for opinion. My gaming show was Cyberpunk, just because if that is anything remotely related to in-game engine, that game is going to be fucking ridiculous. A close second would be Death Stranding, just because that looks like gameplay footage. I mean, we're going to be getting that sooner than we will be Cyberpunk, and just it's Death Stranding. Best conference, Bethesda, hands down. It was paced well. They knew what they were talking about. There was a few awkward moments, but they were not. The audience was into it, and it was not only appreciation of the fans, but it was appreciation. They're the only people who appreciate their developers, who sit there and say, we want to thank the people who make these games. We want to show you the people who make these games, and we want to also say that we brought them here to our studio to celebrate to this conference to celebrate the games that they've created. No other conference did that. Microsoft, we bought all these people. Look at all these new shiny things we bought. Sony, look, this is all from us. Nintendo. Like, from beginning to end, they made jokes at their own expense. They showed off things. They gave a clear game plan. The games that we expected, we got release dates for. And they gave you pretty much a roadmap of where we're going to be seeing coming from Bethesda in the next couple generations of gaming, which I thought was great. Like they gave us what we wanted to, and it feels like they didn't overpromise and want to overdeliver. It seems like they are always like, this is it. This is what we have. We want you to experience this. We want to do that. That's where they are. Worst conference, I'm going to say, is Devolver Digital.
Wow.
There was no
Fight.
No, it's if you're looking at a conference, if they pre-released it as a YouTube video, I would have been 10 down. But that's what it was. It was a YouTube video.
Yeah, it was very produced.
It's tongue in cheek. I get it. I appreciate it. But this is the third year in a row that they've done this, and it's at this point second. But it's. They were tongue in cheeky on their and their other stuff they did, but it's like, it's okay. It was hilarious last time. Now we're hitting the same joke again, and you're leading to the fact that we're gonna do this a third time. And the thing is, like, they had stuff last year. They had a lot of stuff last year. They had 3 games this year. So you're basically telling me that you, as Devolver Digital, who are making fun of people who are spending money to be at E3 to do a conference, spent the money to be at E3 to do a conference only to troll those same people.
Metaception.
Fair.
But they're spending money, so they're basically buying into the corporate thing to make fun of the corporate people.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. If they had more content, I would be down, but they didn't. They had 3 games, and if you were telling me that it's a political statement about what E3's become, sure, but make it that. Don't make it be like, we're trolling everybody about this. Oh, and also here's our 3 games because we want you to buy our 3 games. That's my thought on them. Also, EA was really bad too. But the thing is, like, am I gonna kick a dead horse? It's EA.
You had low expectations there.
Yeah, like I had low expectations for EA and they underdelivered.
And
I
they
had-
still underdelivered.
They still underdelivered. I had expectations for Devolver Digital, and they kept and I was basically left asking, "Where's the beef?" All right, Fem or Chris, don't make me
All right.
choose.
Fam, Chris, or Gio?
Fem, are you prepared, or do you want more time?
I feel okay. I'm gonna have to cop out and go with Cyberpunk as well. That trailer was incredible. And because of the stuff I've heard up in the follow-up after the conferences about what that game is and exactly what you can do, and that they all agree that this game is ready by other studio standards. I'm very excited for it. I'm generally not usually into the whole cyberpunk aspect of things. I'm not into that whole retro future sort of look, apart from synthwave music. The visual design of it is normally not my kind of thing, but they've made me excited for that game. I am very interested in the world that they've built, and I want to know and see more. And that's very difficult to get me to do because I'm very picky. I think my best conference, I had to go, same with James, is Bethesda. I have been saying Microsoft up until quite recently because they did the very corporate, here's the trailer, here's the promise. And I'm like, this is great. You've done a conference. You've perfected conferences. Well done. And you didn't fuck it up like Sony did this year. But it doesn't provide anything to anyone who has a PC. There are very little things in that conference if you are not already in the Xbox zone of things. If you're not into their first party, which obviously there isn't a lot to choose from right now, everything they showed I can get somewhere else. I have Windows 10. I can do this. None of this is new to me. You need to make this interesting for the PC people now. It's about getting those people back on board, in my opinion.
Like Sega did, but that's show real.
Yes, basically. Yakuza is on PC now. I'm like, great. That's another reason for me to ditch Sony later on. So, whereas my worst conference, I'm going with Square, because they have been absent for 2 years. They haven't done, or is it 3? I think they were in 2015 was their last one. Which made it imply to people, especially Square fans, stupidly like myself, they were like, shit, they must have something to bring this year. Holy hell! And then they super did not have anything to bring. They had 2 new IPs that they did not show anything for. They were crap trailers for the new IPs as well. And everything else was something that was either in another conference or they just went, shush. It just disappeared. That show was shorter than Devolver's. And Devolver's was 30 minutes. So it's like you go in expecting Square to bring it, and then they didn't even bring any. And that's disappointing. Whereas at least EA, I know what to expect from EA, and I got what I expected.
It was telling when it finished, and then you've got the GameSpot commentators and analysts just sitting there, just scratching their heads, going, "What was that?"
Yeah, IGN did the same thing. They were there like, "Is it finished? Is that it?" And Easy Allies did the same, and Kind of Funny did the same, and I'm like, wow, that is bad. If your journos, your main outlets don't know that that's the end, you fucked up. You did nothing. You've done nothing of import. You've disappointed, and it's very easy to disappoint a Square fan, and that's exactly what they did.
Also, no Final Fantasy VII.
I can take or leave 7 myself. It would have been nice if they just at least done a picture, because they did that for the shit they did bring. Just like, here you go. Just that's why it looks like at the moment. Bye. But they didn't even do that. So
All right.
That's me.
Alrighty.
So I'm in the same vein as James as far as best and worst for shows. I'm up there with Bethesda easily. I think Bethesda easily took the show. That's basically my opinion on it, is that they just blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
They had a weak start, but their finish was so strong that I don't think there was any question that they won. I do think Devolver also flopped on it, mostly because they were rolling more of what happened last year, but they didn't really build upon it nearly as well as they should have.
Considering how much time they had to plan it.
Exactly.
Because they'd been planning it since the end of last E3, whereas the previous one they did in 3 weeks.
Precisely.
So,
And
like,
more
wow.
importantly, they could have gone more into the games.
They could have. They have
should.
plenty.
The majority of the show was their skit. The vast majority of their show was the skit. Each trailer each bit that they did was like maybe 2-3 minutes each out of their half an hour thing, and they did 3. So like literally just a third was on the games, and the rest was skit. That no, big fail.
Yeah.
But I think my top trailer thing, my top my vote for who's looking the best this year for games, it's gonna surprise you guys. And click here to find out. It'll shock you.
Oh, is this our poll?
I want
Rage 2.
Wow.
Oh.
nice.
All right, I can see that.
Yeah,
Now the
Are
reason
you
why
gonna
is
stand in
because,
front of
one,
your Ferrari and explain to me why?
Of course. No, my other car is a Porsche.
I have that.
Holy
Rage 2.
Porsche.
First and foremost, Rage 2 looks phenomenal.
Yes.
It looks like a game you want to buy.
It's the best game that nobody wanted.
It's the best game that nobody wanted, and that's the best part, is that nobody cared. Nobody cared that Rage 2 was going to happen. But now you're looking at it and you're like, holy shit.
Totally agree,
Yeah.
because I kind of want to play that game, and I've never been interested in Rage ever. So
I mean, I was strictly interested in Rage because it was id Soft. Like that was it. That was the reason why I was like, oh, that's neat. I'm gonna play it because it's id. But like, it looks amazing. It looks like it's building upon the world. It looks like everything a sequel should do, and then some. And because it's coming from a game that you did not expect was going to get a sequel at all, because of the way it was treated.
Yep.
So, like, out of everything, 76 had a few questions that were left behind that people were weary of. Pretty much every other title had questions that people were weary of. But what you saw in the Rage 2 trailer was, 1, you saw the game. 2, you saw gameplay. 3, you saw fantastic trailers with a lot of fun. And then the only question you have left is really, like, how filled in is the world? But that's not a big deal either.
Is Andrew W. going to monetize their video or not? Copy strike. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of PewDiePie videos. Can we copy strike PewDiePie?
Oh, that was the thing about Ubisoft as well. Ubisoft
yes,
copyright claimed people streaming their conference, including videogamer.com. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
yeah, it was accidental. They were meant to clear it. It didn't get cleared, and people were banned for 90 days from streaming on their YouTube channel because of this. Now, thankfully, they have now rectified this, but it shouldn't have occurred in the first place.
So, can we copy strike PewDiePie?
And if he did the Ubisoft thing, he would have been for a day.
Let's put it this way: if PewDiePie uses any part of the show, the amount of people that we would get, PR positive or negative, would be well worth his time just showing any
Totally.
bit of it. Like, we would not copy strike PewDiePie at all.
Like, you can take all you like.
Go ahead, PewDiePie. You have our permission to use this.
Well, but I'm not saying that that's nicking our stuff. Is that
More
right?
importantly, please, we have an MDA, a must disclose agreement. So if you do this, you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
By using any clip, you have to mention us by name at least once.
and link the description in the show notes.
Yes.
Geo,
Yes.
your turn, matey.
Alrighty. Let's see. Honestly, probably one of the most games I'm getting more hyped about.
It's a best in show game.
Best of show, yeah. Best of show for me. I think I'm really into be a Ghost. So I'm really into samurai games, and specifically historical era and stuff. It's their alternate take. I'm really interested in more of it, especially because I know they did admit they did turn some stuff off. So I do want to see more of it. But I really like the way they do like the battles and stuff. I'm definitely interested in like more of that. For best overconfidence, yeah, of course, everybody definitely for sure be it overall done. Be Bethesda, like really enjoy a lot of stuff that, especially like Ray Shooter who said like I'm one who I played it. There's stuff I like. There was like a lot of stuff. There's a lot of issues with Rage 1, so I was like surprised, and the stuff they even admitted like we screwed up with Rage 1. We had issues, we messed up, and then like to do Rage 2 is so much cooler. And then one thing I like, they've admitted, if you watch the trailer, there's like a little TV ad for collector's edition. That's real. They're like, oh, that's a real collector's. Like we actually like featured that in that little TV. That's an actual collector's edition. You can buy that head, that talking head.
That was the other thing I liked about that was all the nifty extra merch that they did.
Yeah, see, all the stuff they kind of sneak in there in a lot of their trailers. They're like, no, those are real stuff. We kind of sneaked it in there, so that's cool. And then stuff, even them admit himself, like, even like what's his name, like we're following stuff, like, oh yeah, we say so yeah, we hear we make buggy games, because it says so on the internet, so it's got to be true. So it's like I love that people like, even themselves like not just like saying it for script, but like genuinely like we screwed up. We know we make buggy stuff, but like it's just owning it. Like they should have just straight up owned like all their stuff, good or bad. And then even stuff like that, like with whereas like I'm not completely hyped with people, but even stuff like here's how it's goes. We're making it, okay? Yeah, it's done. Just shut up about it. Yep. You're gonna get it when it's done. So like a lot of companies like Microsoft was solid, but like most people like me when I watch Microsoft, just like cool. What games I'm gonna buy on my PS4? Because I don't really care for your exclusives. It's something don't really sell me exclusives. But everything else, I'm like cool. That's gonna eventually come on PS4. Cool. Or you can buy that on PC. Cool. I'll just play that on PC or PS4 then. And worse it was the same with them. Like I give probably Square because they had almost like no reason to be there besides stuff like involved. Like everything they showed to everywhere else, or everywhere else had better trailers after. So it's like, why were you even there? If it's because especially with Microsoft, like almost had all your trailers, They had I think maybe only like 2 weren't announced elsewhere. That was about it. Everything else was like either on Microsoft or Sony's.
Cool. Is that it?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. We're going to come in just under 5 hours.
Yes.
4 hours and 45 minutes.
So we've got another 15 minutes to fill.
Yep.
You guys might, but I'm done. I've got it. So, anybody else have anything for the good of the order?
I mentioned it very briefly, but I just wanted to say how awesome it was for the Xbox Game Pass that they put down to £1 and like announced that just made me super happy, and I was all over that bit. So I thought that was positive for gamers out there, and they just went there you go, enjoy.
I didn't know they had done that, so I naturally am now going to go and get Game Pass.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
One thing that's slightly doing better too. It's not just old games, but new games too. That's a great way to try games out before you buy.
Yeah, they did it and put Fallout 4 straight on there, which was great.
That's a lot of stuff I appreciate.
Also want to say we are going to be starting pushing towards Extra Life now. There's going to be 3 of us over 3 days. Hurgleman's saying now he's going to go for
We'll do a whole day.
I've already got this whole thing planned out, and I can't back now. I gotta. So we're gonna be doing a much longer version. It's not gonna be a one hours sitting now.
We know I'll probably be about
Beyond me.
well.
I'll be doing one 24-hour sitting.
James will be doing 8 hours. I'll be doing 8 hours.
I
I'll
don't know
probably
what
do
I'm
this
doing for my 8
probably.
hours, but I'm doing something for my 8 hours.
Nice.
What is it, November?
I'll be doing a 16-hour pregame.
November 2nd.
Third,
3rd and 4th.
Like,
second,
which
third,
day
and
is
fourth
it?
now.
It's all 3.
It's second, third, and fourth now.
Yeah.
But
2nd, 3rd, and 4th now. Yeah.
Because we're each doing a day, so we're doing it different days, different timelines.
Yeah, you're
time
doing
zones.
it as a team.
So,
Yes.
but also so that way other people who miss one can at least enjoy somebody else. Yeah. So okay. So since this is November, I can guarantee you that I will tell you exactly what I'm playing on November 1st. That's the best I can give you. I like these guys are setting goals for like panda onesies and like other stuff. I don't have goals.
Bikini streams.
I'm just gonna be
Wanking.
there. We
Hard
can't.
in the panda onesie.
We can't. We can't be shirtless. It's against Twitch guidelines.
Not if you do it at the beach.
I actually have a gaming laptop, and I do have a family
It's
member
totally
that has
allowed
a
as
beach
long as you're not
house.
focusing on your chest. It's totally allowed. If you're at a beach.
That'll be what I'll do for 24 hours. I'll just
There you go.
set my gaming laptop up on the deck of my of the beach house, and just stream the beach for 8 hours.
Occasionally,
8 hours.
occasionally play volleyball in the background.
Horseshoes. I just do an IRL stream for 8 hours. All right.
When are we going to launch the other drive as well that we were about? If I get you two to EGX.
We'll talk about next week or next show Friday. That's season 3,
Yeah.
episode 1, or episode 101, depending on which universe of Tig Whippies you're in. Gotta create a whole new folder on my hard drive. Although, if anybody else is wondering too, I've done the math on how many hours of video / audio there is. There is
No.
139.95 hours of Tig Whippies, which is roughly about 5.3 repeating days
Yep.
concurrently. So you can listen to it 5 days straight. That's what 2 years of this is. And now we have to add another about 5 hours on top of that.
Another 5 days. And I don't like it.
Fuck. Yep, but no, this is the end of year 2. This is it. We've done 50 episodes a year for the past 2 years.
Brofist.
Well done.
So
There you go.
that's including vacation. I think we've only not streamed on a weekend day like 4 times in our history, maybe
Yeah.
5, because we recorded once because the return system came up.
Yes. So
I've got Michael, I'm gonna play episode 1 after we end. That is not
wasn't.
top quality. That is the video was lost. We've only lost the video twice. Episode 1 and episode 37 of season 2.
That's when I was away, wasn't it?
The video was gone.
Spanish Tracer.
No, season 2. Season 2, episode 37. So that was like 5 weeks ago. For whatever reason, I don't have the video for that. I think it's because we moved into the new system and it didn't automatically record. So, but anyways, yeah. So starting next week, we're gonna have it all over. We're gonna start season 3. We've talked about E3, so we'll be back to the normal-ish format.
Real news.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about this fucking conference anymore. We're just gonna talk bullshit like we normally do, like the important topics.
Yes.
Like
Like microtransactions.
yes. Thank you for everybody who came.
Favorite country.
Thank you all for being here. Oh, hi. It was a ton of fun. It was a great way to kind of round out the year of the show. And we'll start it all again next time. If anybody else has anything else to say,
Yeah,
now's the time to do it.
Thank you, Malinari, for joining us. Thank you, Reese, for joining us. Thank you, Dougie, for joining us. Thank you, then Video Games, for joining us. And last but certainly by no means least whatsoever, our first-time guest, Friend Fox. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
I know I've been after you for a little while, but thank you for actually finally coming on the show.
I did a brave.
Did a brave. And see, it's like a Band-Aid. You ripped it off and it wasn't that bad.
Done.
You probably, I mean, if you think about it, you've already probably done more time on the show than most of our other guests, given the length of show.
This is true. This is very true.
So like,
It's the exact same way I did it on one of my old podcasts. It was literally my first show was the E3 breakdown of that year, and that was about 6 hours as well. So.
yeah, I think the fact that this is going to be 5 is about good enough. I mean, we skipped over all the other conferences, but if you want the PC video game show, look at your Steam library. There you go. I helped you out. All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
That's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. So we get to go to this screen, do that.
Happy